Welcome back. Our next discussion on DTC eligibility and chills. So in this segment, really what I want to talk about is the misconception. It's funny out there, being on the inside of a process, to hear some of the rumors and the myths that develop over time. So what I want to try to accomplish or try to put to bed some of the myths that are out there. Myth number one is as follows, that some of the companies call us up or we get inquiries to dtceligibility.com and they say, well, I'd love to be DTC eligible, but I know that I can't. I say, okay, why do you think you can't? They say, well, because we only did about $80,000 in revenue last year. We expect to do more next year, but I know that with only $80,000, we can't apply for DTC eligibility. And I say, okay, why do you think that with only $80,000 you can't apply for DTC eligibility? They say, well, we know that the rule is you have to have at least $100,000 in revenue. So that's misconception number one. Really that evolved over time because some of the larger clearing firms that no longer do DTC eligibility, like Penson, for example, they had an internal threshold of only wanting to really do companies that have $100,000 in revenue. But there was an internal policy. I'm not aware of any DTC rule that raises that number. So that's myth number one. A very similar related myth are companies that have come to us and they say, well, we'd love to get DTC eligible, but we can't because our stock only trades at 7 or 8 cents. We trade millions of shares a day, but we're not higher than 10 cents, so we can't get DTC eligible. Again, a myth. I don't think that it's tied to the price of the stock in any way. I also want to sort of put to bed the myth that it takes months to get DTC eligible. I have to say that DTC and their back office has gotten very good over the last 6 to 9 months. They're very responsive on all the matters, and people that hear that it's taking months, I actually just heard some company that said that they know that the process will take at least 6 months because the DTC vault was flooded. For better or for worse, that has nothing to do with anything, and that has nothing to do with the actual eligibility process. They've actually gotten very good at pushing things through the process and reviewing all the documentation. And the last and the final myth is that people think that if they do a reverse merger, they'll automatically lose their DTC eligibility or they'll be chilled. Again, not true. There are occasions when that happens. It's on a case-by-case basis, and if so, there are ways to deal with it, and we'll discuss sort of how to handle chills in our next segment.